As Iris tries to enter her own car, she finds it oddly jammed. Seeing this, Richard gets out and comes towards her with a mysterious-looking umbrella. Then he plunges the umbrella's base into her stomach, which emits electricity. She faints, and he hogties her, places her at the back seat of his car, and starts driving. The movie begins with a woman named Iris, who's mentally shattered after the recent death of her son. Beside her, her husband is sleeping soundly. After some time, she gets out of bed, takes a knife from the drawer. She also grabs her son's toy boat before heading out. She drives through the forest, parks her car, and treks up the Rocky Mountains. At the top, she arrives at a memorial site, places the toy boat, and carves her son's initial alongside hers and her husband's. Then she walks toward the cliff's edge, ready to jump. However, she's interrupted by a man named Richard. He tells her he knows what she's about to do, but he won't stop her. He only asks for a few minutes to talk. Richard jokingly suggests that if she's going to jump, she should at least tell him her name. Iris refuses, but Richard insists. He begins sharing his story, sharing how he was a car enthusiast until a terrible accident with his girlfriend, Chloe, during college happened. Richard was bedridden for months and sunk into depression, but eventually he found a new purpose in life. Hearing this, Iris expresses sympathy. Iris opens up about the death of her son, Mateo. She recounts how her husband was carving their initials into a tree, while Mateo was gathering 3 sticks to roast marshmallows. He went too far and fell off a cliff. She blames herself. She was right there, and still couldn't save him. Richard offers words of comfort, assuring her that being broken doesn't mean being hopeless. As he bids her goodbye, she finally reveals her name as Iris. Richard listens silently, then tells her he's leaving, and she's free to do whatever she wants. But as he walks away, something shifts in Iris. She realizes she doesn't want to die. Not like this. She rushes after him. Iris follows him, and together they leave the mountain trail and head towards their cars. Back at the parking lot, Richard gets into his car parked right next to hers. As Iris tries to enter her own car, she finds it oddly jammed. Since Richard has parked so close to Iris's car, she couldn't get in. Seeing this, Richard gets out and comes towards her with a mysterious-looking umbrella. She's confused. There's no rain. When she questions it, he says it could start any time. But the umbrella isn't what it seems. It's a stun device. Then he plunges the umbrella's base into her stomach, which emits electricity. She faints, and he hogties her, places her at the back seat of his car, and starts driving. When Iris regains consciousness, she realizes she's been kidnapped. Her hands and feet are bound, and Richard is driving her somewhere remote. She panics, then she tries to call her husband through her smartwatch. Richard sees this and informs her she will not get a signal here. Then she remembers the knife in her pocket. Quietly, she pulls it out and begins cutting through the plastic ties. Meanwhile, she distracts Richard by asking more about his late girlfriend, Chloe. Iris asks whether Chloe was pretty. He replies that she indeed was. Iris asks what he plans to do to her. But Richard sees through her. He knows she's trying to play emotional games to escape. Still, Iris manages to free one hand, which leads to the car crashing into a tree. She tries to get out, but he pulls her hair, and a fight ensues. Iris tries to strangle him with a seatbelt, but Richard lowers the seat just in time. In the end, she manages to escape. Iris threatens him with the knife, but Richard smirks and drops a terrifying revelation. He reveals that he injected a paralyzer medicine into her body and that her whole system would shut down in about 20 minutes. Panicking, Iris runs. Richard laughs and tells her it's useless. Desperate, Iris sets a 20-minute countdown on her watch and races into the woods, determined to find help. But when she tries to count with her fingers, she can't. Her body has already started to betray her. Her fingers stop working, then one of her legs begins to fail. Closely behind, Richard is calling out her name. She hides inside a tree trunk that is crawling with ants. But when ants start crawling on her face, she flinches, accidentally revealing herself. Hearing her, Richard heads towards her. However, she jumps into the water. The river's current is too strong and could kill her. And he's right. The current pulls her far away. Luckily, she manages to reach the riverbank, gasping for air. Now, she has completely lost the ability to speak and move her muscles, and her breathing is labored. Her body gives out entirely paralyzed. The farm's owner An older man cutting grass nearby notices her lying motionless and asks her if she can speak. And her eyes follow his movement. She blinks her eyes. She's paralyzed but fully conscious. He asks if she can see him. She blinks once. He asks if she can hear him. Another blink. Then he asks if she can move, and this time she blinks twice. He informs her that he will take her inside and call 911. She blinks once as if to say okay. He brings out a trolley, carefully lifts her, and wheels her into his house. But just as he gets her inside, there's a sudden knock at the door. She rapidly blinks, indicating that it is probably Richard, and that he shouldn't open the door. He catches on quickly, sensing something's wrong. He hides her behind the sofa and cautiously answers the door. Sure enough, it's Richard, who asks whether he has seen his wife. He explains that she is short, pretty, and that they were involved in a car accident. The old man, feeling suspicious, adds that he will call for help and closes the door, but Richard walks inside anyway. The old man firmly tells him to leave, but Richard suddenly changes tactics. He starts crying, pretending to be a helpless husband. He says his name is Andrew and that his wife has some mental health problems. He adds that she was driving while they were arguing. She floored it and crashed the car, and he can't remember what happened after that. Sensing the lie, the old man nearly tells him the truth until Richard's phone vibrates in his pocket. The old man becomes suspicious again and asks him why he has his phone in his pocket when he said he lost it. Richard drops the act. His smile fades. He demands to know where the woman is, threatening the old man if he doesn't cooperate. Then he grabs his phone and calls the police. That's when Richard snaps. He attacks, but the old man fights back. While Richard is down, he grabs a knife. When the old man is about to strike Richard again, Richard plunges the knife into the old man's foot and stabs the old man in the stomach. He collapses, dead. From behind the sofa, Iris sees everything. Since he couldn't find Iris, he pours gasoline into the house and throws a match inside. The house is now aflame. Desperate to survive, Iris tried to move her fingers, hoping for any chance to escape. Iris tries to get Richard's attention by drawing a blind. He noticed the window blinds inside, twitching up and down. And when he accidentally sees the window, he knows she is inside. He goes inside, carries her out, and places her in his car. With that, he sped off in the truck. While on the road, Richard received a surprising call from his daughter, Lizzie, a school student, who excitedly tells him that she has secured good marks, and she and her mom had decided to take a trip to Old Cubby. Hearing that left Richard stunned. That was his destination. He tells his daughter to give the phone to her mother. His wife, Lizzie, mentions that he is always going on alone trips lately, and that their daughter, Olivia, needs a change of scenery. He tried to talk her out of it, insisting he needed time alone there, but she refused to listen. She was coming, and that was final. He notices the petrol fuel is low. They stop at a gas station. He puts a hat on her and goes outside to fill up the car's tank, but on the board it says paying via card is temporarily out of order. So he headed inside to pay. Left alone in the car, Iris regained more strength. Now able to move her palm, she managed to unbuckle her seatbelt, hoping someone would notice her. And behind them, a car pulls up. A woman and a child get off. He approached her, curious, but before Iris could say anything, the boy's mother quickly pulled him away. The woman scolds her child for wandering off like that. She sensed something was off about the woman inside the truck and calls the cop. Right then, Richard returned, fueled up, and sped away before anyone could intervene, and goes back to the place they originally crashed at. He changes his clothes, takes out the syringe, umbrella, and some other stuff from his car to the old man's truck. A police officer suddenly pulled up, the same one alerted by the woman at the gas station earlier. The moment the officer checked the plates, they matched the number she had reported. At that moment, Iris tries to speak. The police officer goes near her and Iris tries to ask for help. The officer, now alert, leaned in to check and finds a syringe he was planning to use to paralyze her again. But before he could reach for his gun, Andrew struck him on the head. Then he pours gasoline and burns the vehicle. Richard drives off from there. Andrew fled the scene, but Iris, now fully conscious, had secretly stolen the syringe. While driving, Iris quietly said, "Things aren't going your way anymore, are they?" He snapped back. Hearing this, Andrew loses his temper. He tells her he's changed the plan. Now he'll take her out into the ocean and push her off the boat to drown. Originally, he just wanted to take her to his cabin and have fun. But now his family's arriving, so she has no place there anymore. When they reach there, he mentions he is sad how their time got short. Iris stabs him with the syringe, but her fingers don't work well. Her thumb isn't working properly. Furious, Andrew yanks the syringe from her hand and throws it away. He drags her onto the boat and starts sailing. She sees a knife in his belt and starts sobbing, saying she has one last wish. She wants her son's toy, which is in her pocket. Richard falls for the act. As he leans in, she grabs the knife and stabs him in the neck. Bleeding, he reaches for his gun to shoot her. But before he can fire, Iris shakes the boat hard, causing him to fall into the water, while Iris thinks it's finally over. But then she realizes she shot the boat too. Water starts rushing in. She sinks under the water. Just as she's about to drown, the drug starts wearing off. She regains control of her body and swims up for air. Then she sees Richard fighting for his life. She simply thanks him for giving her the will to live.